October 19th, 2006, Queens, New York. 7th and deciding game of the National League Championship Series. The St. Louis Cardinals are a win away from advancing to the World Series, and they're leading the New York Mets 3-1. It's the home half of the 9th inning. The Mets have 2 out, and the base is loaded. The St. Louis pitcher is rookie closer Adam Wainwright, and if you're a Cardinals fan at this moment, that's pretty good. Actually, that's awesome. In 2006, Wainwright is a smash-hit instant superstar. He's a great athlete, coming off a great first season, and his team is ahead by 2. Heck, he even has the batter down to his final strike. But Adam Wainwright has a problem. See, he can't just dribble out the clock, because baseball doesn't have a clock. He can't fall on the baseball for 3 downs as time expires, because baseball doesn't have downs. No, if Adam Wainwright wants to send his team to the World Series, he's going to have to get this last batter out. I should back up, shouldn't I? I mean, ordinarily in a YouTube program about baseball, it would be the safest thing in the world to assume we all know the rules. But since this is a fan recruitment piece, I think it's only fair we dip a toe. You probably know that if the batter swings and misses, it's a strike, and if he does that 3 times, it's an out. And you probably know that if the pitcher throws a bad pitch and the batter doesn't swing, that's called a ball, and 4 of those means the batter gets to walk to first. But if there was no check on the second part, every batter would just stand there with the bat on his shoulder until the 4th pitch. So if he doesn't swing, the umpire gets to decide whether he should have, in which case the pitch is called a strike anyway, even though the batter didn't swing. This is referred to as a called strike, and the umpire bases his decision to call it on whether the pitch crossed the plane of home plate while inside an imaginary rectangle called the strike zone. Officially, it runs from the bottom of the batter's knee to the bottom of the letters on his jersey and is exactly 1 home plate wide. But people can and do bury a lot of human fallibility in that word officially. To wit, since the umpire can't see the rectangle in real time, he has to use his judgment, and he'll occasionally be wrong. It's just part of the game. Indeed, human fallibility is a big part of what makes baseball so much fun. It's the only sport that keeps track of routine mistakes by players, and the only sport where players respond by often seeming to conspicuously forget what it is they're supposed to be doing out there. It is the only sport in which a single rules official, with nothing more to go on than his own experience and his own eye, can alter the trajectory of everything that happens. Since we're here anyway, I should also point out one more quirky aspect of the rules for batting. If the batter swings and makes contact and the ball does not at some point arrive in the field of play between the first and third base lines and stay there, it's called a foul ball and counts as a strike, unless the batter already has 2 strikes. From there, as long as he doesn't bunt, every foul ball is just an empty do-over, thus putting more strain on the pitcher to execute yet another perfect pitch. This is why a pitcher who's ahead 0-2 can't just relax and let his guard down. Seasoned professional hitters sometimes do the most damage when they're already behind with 2 strikes. They just foul everything off they don't like until the pitcher accidentally relents and throws them something they do. Which brings us back at last to Carlos Beltran. In 2006, Beltran is one of the most ruthless, coldly professional hitters in the business. This guy blows up games while hitting with 2 strikes, the way the rest of us get blown off when we ask attractive women for their phone numbers. Which is to say, almost as a matter of routine. At this point in his career, Beltran is young, powerful, steely-eyed, and boasts a storied track record of destroying Cardinal pitching. For Wainwright, having Beltran 0-2 is like sneaking up on a sleeping grizzly bear and grabbing him in a headlock. And the worst part of all for Wainwright is that they both know it. Now, the most common analogy here is that of a chess match, but I prefer to think of this struggle as more akin to an arms race. Usually the first piece of advice that coaches and managers will give to pitchers is to attack the zone, to throw strikes, and thus eliminate the possibility of a walk. Generally, walks come back to haunt the team on defense. They represent extra runners hanging around to score if the next guy gets a hit of some kind, and in a worst-case, bases-loaded scenario like this one, the walk can itself push in a run. Under such circumstances, pounding the strike zone should be good advice. But if Wainwright throws an unambiguous strike to this guy, in this situation, Beltran will crush it for a home run, and the Mets will instantly win the game and advance to the World Series. That's how it works, by the way, since there are only 9 innings in a baseball game, and since the home team always bats last, if the home team takes the lead in the bottom of the 9th, the game is over. It's called a walk-off, for semi-obvious reasons. Okay, so a no-frills strike is pretty much out of the question here. Knowing this, Wainwright's counter-strategy might be to throw Beltran a ball, expecting that a hitter in an 0-2 count will feel more urgency to swing and prevent the risk of a called strikeout. But this is Carlos Beltran. If the pitch is a ball straight out of Wainwright's hand, Beltran is not chasing it. Not this guy. And that's a bigger problem than it may first seem, because many a famous and successful pitcher relies on the next counter move, which is to make the pitch look like a strike out of his hand, but have it finish out of the strike zone, where the batter can't reach it when he swings and misses for strike 3. But our man Beltran isn't doing that either. He's hit too well, for too long, and seen that particular trick too many times to fall for it. We seem to be at a point of endgame here. Wainwright can't throw a strike, he can't throw a ball, and he can't throw a ball that looks like a strike out of his hand. He's completely trapped. Unless, that is, he can do the one thing we haven't thought of. Instead of throwing a ball that looked like a strike, what Wainwright can do is throw a pitch that looked like a ball out of his hand and finished as a strike. In so doing, he forces Beltran to take the pitch, and as long as Wainwright executes, Beltran is called out on strikes anyway.
Breaking ball struck him out, and the Cardinals have won the pennant.
Baseball is like this, which will always mean that it does take some warming up to. It's not the sport you can walk in on from the back deck, breezily ask someone the score, sit for a few seconds, and walk away satisfied to flip the stakes. Baseball is continuity. Baseball is strategy. Baseball is suspense, followed by execution, followed by an oftentimes positively volcanic emotional release. This is why we love baseball. This is why we love the called third strike. At its best, it is one of the most rapid-fire, mentally adroit, aesthetically perfect moments in all of sport. But don't take my word for it, because you don't have to.
the 2-2 pitch.